Welcome to today's video. We're going to continue in this module where we're learning some photography basics. In this video, we're going to discuss the importance of good lighting. Any photographer will tell you that the key to a great photograph is always lighting. Lighting is absolutely king when you're taking any photo. So it's unfortunate that one of the biggest mistakes I see on struggling Instagram accounts is poor lighting. Their images are too dark, they're underexposed, and they lack clarity. Good lighting can easily fix all of those problems. This is an important lesson I think anyone who does any sort of photography has to learn. And I remember when I first started Instagram, I was using the light in any given room or location and just a smartphone, and I was expecting my camera to do all the work. Guess what? That's not going to happen. Your camera can't do its job without lighting, and good lighting at that. So let's go through this together and let's make sure that by the end of this module, you're no longer making this common mistake. So let's go ahead and take a look at some examples. These photos are all of the same subjects taken in bad light and then progressively better light. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first image. Unfortunately, I see this sort of image all the time, but this is a perfect example of bad lighting. This photo is too dark, it's incredibly grainy, and it's really underexposed. Now you might be thinking, maybe I can just take a photo like this and it's not a huge deal at all because I can just brighten it in a photo editing app later. Unfortunately, that is not going to solve your problem. Now the original photo is on the left, and the photo on the right is after brightening. So you're essentially asking your photo editing software to find information that doesn't exist. Your camera can't make something out of nothing. There is not enough information in the original photo for your camera to make something good out of it. It gets even blurrier, it starts to look more distorted, it lacks a lot of clarity, and it just looks off. It's important that you learn how to get good lighting in camera. This photo was taken in a room under fluorescent lights. There was very, very little natural light coming in, only just here in this corner. And you can see this tiny little hot spot here of somewhat decent lighting, and then how it gets just really muddy looking up here. So fluorescents are not the answer for you. You're never going to get a great image in a room with no natural light coming in, if all your shades are drawn and all your doors are shut and you're not offering that photo its best. So you would need to move your subjects to a place where the lighting was decent. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next example. Now this is some pretty good lighting. You can absolutely work with this. It's much brighter and clearer. There's enough light in this photo to work with for decent edits out of camera. But if we're honest, it's still a bit grainy. But it's workable, absolutely workable. I would completely accept this as good lighting. So let me show you what I mean. You remember in that last photo, when we brightened it, it looked worse. So in this photo, when we brighten it, it actually only makes it better. It makes the colors pop a little more. It's only doing the image a favor, these edits. So the lighting in this image is completely workable out of camera, absolutely acceptable. And I would encourage you to try to reach this milestone first. Now, this photo was taken in my living room where there is a lot of natural light coming in. So I wasn't next to a window like I prefer for great lighting, but I was in enough of an area where some light was coming in. It was pulling into the lens of the camera and allowing for a really nice image. So fluorescence had no impact on this image. This is all natural light only. Now this image is what I prefer, and I would consider this great lighting. It's bright and clear, it's well exposed. You don't really need to do anything to this. It's completely ready for a filter. I could zoom in on those letters and read them if I want to. It's not lacking clarity at all. It's a photo with some great lighting. Now for this photo, I had pulled myself over to the window where some light comes in pretty directly and casts this sort of beautiful shadow that I really like right now. And that will depend on the availability of what's in your house or what's around you that you can take advantage of. But the photo's coming in at more of an angle than just overhead or just surrounding ambient light. The one on the left is clearly bad lighting, as you now know. It's really underexposed, it's really grainy, it's muddy looking, not very pleasing to look at. Now the good lighting is totally workable. I would completely accept that as good lighting. You can do a lot with that photo in After Edits if you want to. And this photo on the far right here, that's great lighting. It's completely clear, it's bright, really welcoming, really inviting. It's aesthetically pleasing to look at. It really draws the eye. So looking at all three of these photos next to each other, I'm sure you'll agree that the difference is very clear. Bad lighting, unacceptable. You can't work with that anymore. Good lighting, yes, you can work with that. You can do a lot with some good lighting. Bad lighting, no longer acceptable. Now you know what it looks like. You know the effect that it has, so no more taking pictures with bad lighting. So where do you find that good lighting? We touched on this briefly, but I want to make sure that you understand where to find it. Natural light is always best. You want to find the windows in your house that give you the best light coming in as possible. And you want to get your subject, the frame of your photo, as close to that light source as you can. Pay attention to your home and start sort of chasing the light and notice where the light comes in most, what times of day it looks best or is the brightest. And you'll start to notice when is best to take your photos just based on where you live and the positioning of your house. And you're going to start to get really good at understanding where light comes from and how you can use it to manipulate great photos. You're never going to find good lighting under fluorescence or after sunset. So if your house is dark because it's dark outside, don't bother taking a photo then because it's just not going to turn out well. You don't have an adequate light source. So you would need to wait and take that photo later, or if you're under fluorescence, you would need to move the subject of your photo into some better lighting. Lighting is absolutely key for a good photo. Without good lighting, your camera can't do its best work, and frankly, neither can you. In the next video, we're going to leave this slide deck for a little bit, and I'm going to take you with me as I take my own photos. I'm going to show you how I chase that light in my home and how I find it. I'm looking forward to it, and I'll see you there.